Yo guys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another interview. Today I'm with Erick Hunting. How's it going?
It's going good, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just made it back in time for this interview, so perfect timing.
That's right.
So I see that your background is always shirts. Can you tell us why?
Why? Well, the easy answer is why not. But I spend this money on these independent wrestling shirts. We love to promote our boys and girls. And I thought, with this roundtable that we do with Don, what better way to show these guys some support? And I don't want to just wear the one. I got plenty of them. Not bragging. I just, I have a bunch of them, and that's what I like to do with them.
Nice. What would you say is your favorite one?
Which one is my favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. I would have to say that one of my favorite ones is this one right here. Sorry, wrong way. This one right here is Logan Black's, the Punisher style one that Joanna Robinson designed and for him. And that's one of my favorite ones.
Nice. Now a big part of your wrestling knowledge, you're a big Logan Black fan, and I think everyone knows that.
Yep.
What makes you like him so much? Why is he your favorite?
Why is he my favorite? Well, the first match I saw him in was him versus Teddy Goods in a hardcore match. And I didn't know who Logan Black was. I didn't even know who Teddy Goods was. But after watching that match, I literally got thrown out of my chair so that they could fight in my spot. So there was that. And he's, as well as I do, he's a stand-up guy. He's one of the nicest guys out there behind wrestling. He's one of the nicest guys. He's always done good by me. I know he does good by you and others. He's just that. He's a stand-up guy, and what's not to love?
How long have you been a professional wrestling fan?
Well, let's see. October I'll be 44, so almost 40 years.
Wow.
My earliest memories, I'm like 4 or 5 years old, sitting next to my grandfather Saturday mornings watching WWF.
How long have you been going to the independent shows?
Well, on a steady basis like I am right now, June 10th or June 16th will be 3 years since I started going to PvP. And it's blossomed from there. I've hit a bunch of other ones. However, when I was 16, my very first show that I went to was an independent wrestling show at my high school.
Wow.
But then there was a big break up until 3 years ago.
Now, back on the Logan Black topic, I was at a show one time where he brought you into his entrance and you ran around the ring with him. During that moment, does that make you feel like a little kid again, just watching wrestling?
Hell yeah, it does. Like I said, I'm gonna be 44. Age means nothing when you're in that environment. You know that, and you know me. You've seen me enough over the past few years that I'm not quiet when I'm at the shows. I'm not quiet at all. His music hits, and the whole place is, chanting that music along with him, getting him fired up, getting us fired up. And we made eye contact, and it just happened. He just grabbed me in a headlock, and we just marched around that ring. And like you said, I felt like I was, I felt like I was my daughter, who's 11 years old. That's how I felt. I was like, oh my God, my favorite wrestler. I'm older than my favorite wrestler.
Now, you have been a fan. You've been to the independent shows for 3 years, like you said.
Yeah.
Is there any favorite promotions that you have?
my loyalty is to PvP and WMW because that's where we started going. Myself, my girlfriend, my daughters, a couple of her daughters have gone with us. So that's kind of where my loyalty stands, and we created a hashtag, and it's not just a hashtag, it's PvP family. And that kind of, stirs over to WMW because it's sister promotions. And it's no joke. You know that as well as I do. We take care of our own. But the kind of fan I am is I'm not just in one lane. I love all this other stuff. I've been lucky enough to go to Blitzkrieg a couple of times. You and I were at the same show, the Blitzkrieg big time show.
Mm-hmm.
That was an amazing show, was it?
Yep.
So I got to go to that. That was my second Blitzkrieg show. I went to one before with. Are you familiar with Ron Schluter?
No.
He's one of the. He hangs out with Foggy and whatnot at the shows. Him and his son Jacob, and he invited me to go along to a Blitzkrieg show. And dude, I had such a good time at that show. There was a hardcore match. Jeff Cannonball versus Jeremy Leary. You know Jeremy Leary. Mm-hmm. They're having the match. We're front row. They bring out the light tubes. Smashes one over Jeremy Leary's head. A shard of light tube went right past me, right underneath my seat. I was shocked, but my safety was not in jeopardy. I knew I was okay, but what a baptism by fire going to a Blitzkrieg show, Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love them all. I'm hooked on 01 Northeast right now because they're close to home. Mm-hmm. And Anthony Green is doing a hell of a job with that promotion.
Mm-hmm. What would you say your favorite type of match is? Like, whether it's stipulation, style, wrestling, what would your favorite be?
I love a straight up wrestling match, but I love hardcore. I grew up watching, I was in that era of ECW, the original ECW. So I remember, staying up till midnight on a Saturday, turning on the Spanish channel, waiting for it to change over to ECW for an hour, So I got to watch a lot of the good hardcore stuff. I used to collect that kind of stuff on VHS tape, and showing my age. But I like a straight up wrestling match. I love high flyers. I love it all, Donovan. I love wrestling, period. But if you give me a good story, and I don't mean like a storyline, I mean a good wrestling story, good guy versus bad guy, comebacks, all that good stuff, I'm down. That's my stuff. I'll put my phone down and watch that,
Now, you're in the fan roundtable, as well as me, and I've interviewed Drinkwater, Big Juicy, Kulik, and Kincaid. What are your thoughts on the roundtable?
When Kincaid came to me with the idea of the roundtable, I was in right from the start. I didn't care how it was going to work. I was in. Because I love to talk wrestling, and, a lot of my family and friends, they're not wrestling fans. So getting to talk to the guys that love wrestling as much as I do, and, and how much fun do we have?
A lot.
It's all fun, right? I mean, we're laughing before he hits record, and we're laughing after he hits pause. Or Pahuse, as he likes to say, But, as soon as he came to me with it, I'm like, let's figure this out. Let's make it happen. We need our wrestling fix. And this is our wrestling fix without being able to go to the matches. You know that.
Now, he also told me in his interview, you watched it, right?
Yep.
He said that you were one of the soundboard guys. Like, he went to you for advice. Can you tell us more about that? Like, what your role was in?
When he first started coming up with the idea of doing the stirring the pots. He was asking me questions like, because he was getting the idea of how much of a fan I was and how serious of a fan I am. I pay attention to what's going on, and I love watching Center Ring every week, So he knows that I'm aware of who these people are. And so Don came to me and asked me, what do you think of this style? What do you think of this and that? And he would just ask me different questions. And he knows I'm going to be honest with him. He shot, a couple of interviews. He says, watch this. What did you really think? And not everything is positive,
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I can be honest with him, and he's not going to take it as an insult. He's going to take it as creative, suggestion. And who am I? I'm just a guy sitting in a seat with a phone. But he says the same damn thing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so he gets where I'm coming from. I get where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Skype sessions when he started doing all these Skype things, and then we started the roundtable. So now I got Skype. We've had post Skyping till 2:00 in the morning, Donovan. No joke. So talking about what he's done, who he's getting, how much fun we had on the roundtable, how infectious that smile that Donovan kid has. There it is right there, So
Mm-hmm.
we just get along. We've become really, really good friends, and we trust each other.
Where have you met everyone from the round table? Like, Kulik literally went over everyone on that list. Drinkwater did the same thing. So I want to get your answer on that.
All right, let's go back to my first PvP show, right? I walk in the door. I don't know anybody except for my girlfriend and my 2 girls. That's it, and 1 wrestler. And I'm not going to divulge that to keep kayfabe, because that's how we got introduced to PvP. But so I knew that 1 person. We walk in, we paid our money, we got our seats, and the merch table was right at the door. The first person I see is old school Corey Michaels. Cool kid, great wrestler. Haven't seen him in a long time, which sucks. But then I hear this loud, booming voice telling Larry, whoever the hell Larry is, at the time I didn't know, to wake up and do his job. Who is this guy? And then through the whole event, he hasn't stopped talking, yelling, wooing, everything. Now he's one of my favorite people in the world. I love Kulik. Kulik, I don't think, has a bad bone in his body. And if he does, it's still a good bone in his body. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I love that guy. So, I mean, I didn't really meet him, but we met him. And I'm sure you had kind of the same experience at your very first PvP show.
Yeah, I didn't know who anyone was. I didn't even know who the wrestlers were. And then
Yep.
I just going, and it becomes a big family.
Exactly. We walked in, and one of the first things I said was, I don't even know who to cheer or boo. I mean, that's why you go, right? That's why you watch wrestling, for the good guys and the bad guys. We didn't know who was who. And the first thing that happened, do you remember Wildman Congo? Huge guy. Okay. Well, I think he kind of stopped coming to PvP just before you started going. He attacked Johnny Idol, and he scared the crap out of my youngest daughter. I mean, she was legit scared. I'll be honest, I was kind of scared too, because he's a big man. Mm-hmm. That was the first thing that happened. So we didn't know who to cheer or boo, but you kind of catch on. Everybody loves the closers. How do you not like a guy named Big Bacon? I love bacon, so now I love bacon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and Jesus, he's a hell of an athlete too.
Oh, he's a house. He is a house. And do you listen to his podcast?
I listened to a couple episodes. Just like
Dude, you gotta do your homework, brother. I'm telling you. You love bacon, you're going to love listening to it. As long as you're allowed to listen to the explicit content. Because he got a potty mouth. Drinkwater, I got to know him like right off the bat. You know, just sitting near him, we could tell that, you know, we were big fans of, you know, some of the same guys, even though I didn't know who any of them were. And I kind of looked at him as, you know, example. Okay, he's cheering these guys. Why not? He seems to know what he's talking about. You know, so. And the other guys, let's see, who do we got? Brother Bob, I don't know him, and he only lives 2 towns over from me. I got to meet him through the round table. You know, you know, I know the Beast Roll. I know him from PvP and WMW. We were told we weren't allowed to sit next to each other anymore by his girl because we caused him too much trouble. So, and I wasn't getting all the footage that I like to get, so I wasn't paying attention. You know, but you know, so I some of these guys I've only met through the round table, and how awesome is that? You know,
it's really awesome. You see him at the shows and you're like, hey, what's up? And then round table it connects you even more with them.
It's an extension of that, isn't it? You know, it's just another way of doing that.
Now, the sign behind you says a 4-letter word, Putz.
It certainly does.
Which represents Alex Cypher. What are your thoughts on him? I mean, he's he's great at what he does, and really well.
Let's put it this way. Alex Cypher, this guy, loved to hate him, right? Mm-hmm. Alex Cypher, the man, he's a good dude. You know, I mean, he knows how to interweave both of those, you know, his character and his real person. And he's going to get mad at us for putting him over a little bit, you know. He likes to be hated, right? But, you know, and then having him on the round table and then having him on Stirring the Pot with Don and listening to his past and where he came from and then seeing some of his wrestling and stuff and then listening to Kulik talk about him when he was wrestling, I got a lot of respect for that guy. You know, he's gone through a lot, you know, injury-wise and staying with it, you know, in some way, shape, or form. And let's face it, what he does, like you said, he's good at it. Mm-hmm. He can get under your skin like that.
He's kind of like MJF's long-lost brother.
Or uncle.
Yeah.
You know, because something tells me he would have taught MJF a thing or two, you know?
Is there anyone in your book that you think will be a star anytime soon on the independent shows?
Oof. I could throw that whole book at you. You know what I mean? I mean, we've already mentioned his name, and I know Kulik has done it too. Bacon. You know, if he wasn't sidelined by that injury, I think he'd be looking pretty close to a Ring of Honor contract right now. In fact, I know that just by listening to him talk. He was right there, and it won't be long once things get back to rolling and he gets his wheels back underneath him. He's going to be throwing people around in Ring of Honor, and we know he can throw some people around. Yeah. Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball should be somewhere right now. You know, he's tearing it up. And he should be somewhere. I mean, this Nico Silva, come on. That guy's a star. He's got a star written all over him. I mean,
he's the OG interview.
There you go. See? It had to start somewhere, right? Yep. You start with one of the best, you know. And you know, I love me some Just Neff. Just Neff is he's a star, man. He's a good kid. I love that guy. And the list goes on and on, but I don't want to slight anybody either.
You also go crazy when a certain guy comes out, not Logan Black, not Big Bacon, but Slade.
Come on.
say anything you want about Slade.
Slade, I was impressed from second one. He just came out, no nonsense. He came out just storming the room and beat the crap out of somebody, turned around and went back out. Yep. He clocked in, he did his job, and he clocked out. That was it. He ain't there to make friends. He ain't there to make, an hourly rate. He's there to do one job, do it well, kick somebody's ass, and go home. And then beat up the trailer.
Yeah. Now, when they announce him, they say he's from Rikers Island. I want to get your opinion on this. What do you think he did?
I don't want to think about that. Because I can only imagine what he did to get out. I don't want to think about what he did to get in.
He could have just ended up there. Maybe he wanted a sleepover.
It wasn't a field trip, I'll tell you that much. It wasn't a field trip, and he got left behind. He belonged in there, and he found his way out somehow. And it wasn't the good way. Watch Shawshank Redemption.
Hey, but he's one of the top guys in PvP in Western Mass. So
we've seen his face on NWA Power. Or, no, sorry, not NWA.
AEW.
AEW. I'm sorry, I got it slipped up, but.
That's fine. Let's see. Now, both you and I have brought gifts to some of the wrestlers. I don't know how. I think, Moxie. What made you do that? Mine was just for a reason, because he does a hell of a job in the ring, outside the ring, so he deserves a gift. What about you? What was your reason?
Well, my main reason is, like I said before, he's a stand-up guy. He's the type of guy, he would give you the shirt off his back. It wouldn't have any sleeves on it, but he'd give you the shirt off of his back. And I have a love for Moxie myself. It's a very acquired taste. Not many people like it.
Yeah, so, I tried and not a fan.
I haven't had a soda in 8 years. The only soda I would go back for would be Moxie. I grew up on it. So seeing that a wrestler that I liked it too, we stopped at the convenience store on the way to one of the shows, and I got everybody a soda. I got myself a water, and I saw the Moxie sitting over in the cooler. I'm like, I got to do it. I know Logan's on the card. He just got done an ass-kicking match, and I gave him the bottle, and he said, hey, come over during the intermission. And that's when we did, I don't know, you've probably seen it, the picture with him and I with the bottle. That wasn't posed. That was just, all right, we'll do this, and because he's a good guy.
Now, because you're a big fan of him, if you ever had a fan club, would you be the president of it?
I put my name in the running. I would definitely put my name in the running for it. I'm not much on elections, but I would put my name on the ballot. I'm sure there's quite a few people that you'd be on there. Joanna Robinson would be on there, and I think we'd both lose to her, to be honest with you. I mean,
we could put up a good fight, but there's no.
You can fight a good fight, but that doesn't mean you're gonna win.
Yeah.
You got to know who the winners are, and Joanna's pretty much a winner.
Is there any top female wrestlers that are in your radar that are gonna go big soon?
That are gonna go big soon? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Ashley Box is already making her name out there on NWA. Chris Statlander is making it huge in AEW, who we got to see at that Blitzkrieg show versus Skylar. There's another one. If this stuff wasn't going on right now, she'd be kicking ass and taking names. We all love Skylar. But then you got Davian. I love Davian. I have a hashtag that I always put on stuff that I post for her and stuff, and it's called Small Town Support. She's from 2 towns over from me. She knows my cousin, or my cousin knows her or something like that. But so there's a little bit of a connection there, and she's pretty badass too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, she can kick somebody's butt within a heartbeat. You know, but there's a lot of them. You know, there's one that showed up at PvP once. She's kind of been laying low lately, and that's Caitlin Diamond. Caitlin Diamond is a hell of a talent. She was at one of our PvP shows that we were at. She wrestled Jocelyn. Remember Jocelyn? Came out with the shark gimmick.
I wasn't there yet. I didn't know about
Okay. When was your first show?
September 10th, 2017.
So you were just after I was, because I was June of 17. And she was in 18. She came in, but either way, but she's originally out of Canada. She's been everywhere. She's done some work for Ring of Honor, but she's a hell of a talent. She's pretty talented. I like her too.
Now, what do you look for in a superstar that has like examples like the it factor, potential, charisma? What do you look for in a superstar that can make it in this business?
Obviously, your athleticism. You know, that's number one. Personality. You know, we both have. I'm going to put it this way: we have a sister, don't we? And her name is Big Juicy.
Yep.
That girl right there has what does Kulik say? She's the queen of charisma, right? Mm-hmm. She lights up a room in a heartbeat. You know, from the second we saw her the first time. You know, like that. So anybody that comes out and is like, I love that. If you can carry a good match, like I told you, my favorite kind of match is a good wrestling match. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody like that. You know, and if they're given the chance, and it's not given a whole lot on the indie scene, but if they're given the chance to get on the microphone and really carry a good promo, you're gonna get me, because I like a good promo. I like a good hard times type of promo from Dusty Rhodes, or you know, the original the day that Austin 316 was born, when he won the King of the Ring. You know, something like that. If you can say something like that, then you're gonna get me. You know, but I don't sleep on a lot of them, but there's been a few, and I'm not obviously going to name any names, but there have been a few. It's like, man, it seems like he's kind of just going through the paces, but it could be a bad day too. We don't know. We're not wrestlers. We don't know what's going on. You know.
Now, I think like 3 other people, Kulik, Drinkwater, Kincaid, they shared their opinion on the merch that I made. What is your opinion on the merch that I made?
For the roundtable? Sure.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you the number one thing that I love about it. My name is spelled correctly. I have relatives that don't spell my name right. So the fact that you did, and I know you just took it from, you know, from our whole setup and everything, but still,
yeah,
that made me happy. And I like it. I think it's cool. You got the roster on the back. You know, let's call it a roster, you know, the roster of Roundtable family. And then you got the design on the front. What more do you need?
Nothing.
What more do you need? You don't need flames on it. You don't need skulls on it. You got the Roundtable design. You got the names on the back. It's just for us anyways. Mm-hmm. I'm in. Tell me how much and when, and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I've been trying to get people. Let's see, what else can I ask? Where do you see like PvP and Western Mass Wrestling, Blitzkrieg, even Northeast 01, is it that you go to? Where do you see those companies in 5 years from now?
Well, first we need to get out of this mess. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, PvP's been around for a little while. I mean, from what I understand, and again, you and I have only been in this for 3 years with them. So, I mean, we've been around for 3 years of it. I can see it keep going. You know, the people at the helm know what they're doing. the people that are really running the show know what's going on. I don't want to get behind the scenes because that's not what we're here for. But you know, they know what they're doing. They know how to build a good card. They obviously know how to build good stories. I mean, look at the Alex Cypher story. That has been going on for over 2 years. From him getting involved in things, being a part of the athletic commission, to now being, you know, trying to take companies away from people. That's a storyline that's been going on for 2 years. You don't just throw that together. There has to be a creative mind behind that. And I think they have some of that. And the talent is there. So that helps. And, you know, you got guys like, you know, with Blitzkrieg, you know, that's Jeremy Leary's company. And he does a hell of a job with that. You know, the couple of times I've been there, I didn't know what to expect. And, you know, luckily I had Ron next to me. He says, hey, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. It was a fun time, you know, that first one. And then, you know, the one that was combined with Big Time, man, that was a good show.
Yep.
That was a damn good show. And, you know, you had Orange Cassidy there. And then you had the Boogeyman, who picked up a kid and ran around the arena.
My mom was really confused about that part. She like didn't understand why everyone was clapping, like because he returned the kid or something. She didn't understand, but she was really grossed out with the worms, and she didn't understand. I was like, that's just part of his thing.
I'm a fisherman, and I was turned off by the worms too. I don't like the worm thing, but you know, because I had one land like right at my feet. Yeah, gross. But you know, 5 years from now, I think they're still going to be thriving, you know, creating stars, and they are. 0-1, he's got less than a year under his belt with that, and it's already an event, and I think that's going to go. That's going to go. Unfortunately, this whole King COVID thing is really slow, and that's a shame. So that's where I see it in 5 years.
Now, only a few more minutes because the juice bar is opening up in like 20, so I want to be there for that, and I think you go there too. Do you have any interesting stories that you would like to share? It could be from wrestlers, people that you gone to the shows with, like any interesting stories.
I'll go back to my very first show. Like I told you, I was 16. We went to my high school, and it was an indie show. I didn't know any of the wrestlers except for they had 2 name stars on that show. One was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and the other was Greg the Hammer Valentine. Now, I just told you that the part about your shirt that I liked was that you spelled my name right. I went to get an autographed 8x10 from Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And he asked me, he said, I had my nephew with me who was 6 years old at the time. And he signed his, you know, and then he went to sign mine. He says, what's your name? I said, Erick. He said, how do you spell that? He says, Erick. And so he wrote it down. This was at the beginning of the night. The matches hadn't even started yet. The whole event goes on. Now I had a cardboard sign that had 2 pictures of Hacksaw on it. The end of the night, we're waiting for our ride to come pick us up. I look in the gym and I see Hacksaw talking to somebody. Knowing what I know now, it was probably the promoter. But then I didn't know. So I went in, waited my turn. He got done, and I said, excuse me, Mr. Hacksaw, I was wondering if you'd sign my sign for me. He said, yeah, no problem, my friend. He signed one to my nephew, and then the other one, he signed it to me, and he's Erick, right? I said, yeah, that's awesome. And he signed it. This guy just went through a whole night. He got hit with, you know, a 2x4 and everything else, and he remembers how to spell my name? He just saw like 200 people. How the heck does he, you know? So, you know, I was already a fan of his. it was cemented right there. You know, at 16 years old, you know, that was my first ever wrestling show because I just wasn't able to ever go to wrestling shows before that. And then I went to a few after that, but that was my only independent show. Then I went to a couple of WWF shows after that. But that's my story, you know, getting to meet Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who has a bear paw for a hand. Went to shake his hand, lost my hand, you know, engulfed.
Now, that's pretty much it. That's all I
Yeah.
have, and it's been fun.
It has been.
Anything else that you would like to say? Anything to ask me?
Yeah, you know what? You're doing great at these interviews. I think you've come a long way in a short amount of time. I'm so glad that you've gotten out into your comfort zone. You know, you've gotten out of that, being shy and everything. You've really gotten better, and it shows. It really does. So kudos on that. You're a big wrestling fan. Do your homework. That as a diehard fan, if you hear Logan Black when he does like his unboxings and stuff like that, and he mentions a wrestler or something, YouTube is your friend, man. Look these people up. Watch it. You know, whether you want to be into it or just be the interview guy or whatever you want to do, just there's so much wrestling out there. Look it up. If you hear, like, we do these roundtables, right? And we hear wrestlers we don't know because they're not in PvP or WMW, so we don't know who they are. Look them up.
Yeah.
Look them up. Do your homework, man, because there's so much good wrestling out there. And yeah, we can't get to it, but no, it's out there. The content is out there. Look it up. That's the biggest thing I can say, you know. And you're. I said it to you this morning in a post. Yep. You're sitting under one hell of a learning tree right now. Soak it up. You got a guy like Kulik who knows how to throw an interview and is good on a microphone and can, you know, knows how to interview and stuff like that. And then you have Don Kincaid, which, you know, who can say anything better? But then you also have a guy who you may not be close to, but you can get close to, and that's Fogman. Reach out to that guy anytime, and that guy will help you out with getting to know wrestlers, how to talk to them. I mean, the guy has been doing center ring since 1996. He knows his way around this business. And you got a guy in the back pocket, and that's Logan Black. You know that he's going to help you in any way possible. He already does. So you have this learning tree that you're sitting under. Take advantage of it, you know, the right way.
Yeah.
You know, and respectfully, and do everything the right way, which you already are. But just take advantage of these things while you have them. And the sky is the limit for you, man. Just, I'm proud of you. You know, you're around the same age as my oldest daughter. So I can see where you're coming from, you know, with talking to people and stuff like that. And in a short amount of time from your Nico Silva interview to you just interviewed Mark Adam Haggerty. I haven't watched it yet because I haven't had the chance to, but I know how that went.
It was so great.
Because he is such a good dude. And that's another leaf on that tree that you have, as long as you keep that, you know, relationship on the up and up, because he will help you because he loves this business just as much. So, you know, that learning tree is growing for you because you're doing these interviews. I think as long as you keep pushing like that, and like I say, do your homework. You know, you hear about a guy from Japan and you don't know who it is, look it up. YouTube is your friend. You know that. You have a YouTube channel. Use it. Utilize it. It's a learning tool too. And you know, I love wrestling. It encompasses just about everything I do. I just can't get in the ring, you know, and I'm not cut out for interviews. You know, I'm just the guy that sits behind the camera, takes a couple of photos, a couple 100, and then bothers everybody by posting them. And I get loud at the shows. You know?
I can hear your Slade chants. You go crazy. And Logan Black chants.
I would do it now, but I don't want to blow out my phone speaker.
Yeah, we got roundtable in like 2 hours, so.
Yeah, I know. Yep. So, yeah, that's my biggest thing to you is just keep doing your homework, utilize that learning tree that you have, and you have somebody else in another back pocket. That's your friend John Cena. I mean, come on.
Yeah, true.
Utilize that, man.
I reached out to him, so I'm just waiting for a response.
It's just waiting right now, right? It's a waiting game.
I don't want to be like one of those people that's like goes too crazy over it, and it's like DMing him 24/7. Like that's what Kulik was like. You gotta message him every hour. No.
You do pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, you put one out there, let it be seen, let it be read. Maybe a couple months down the line, shoot him another one or something. You know, just in case he didn't see it, or maybe it's not the real one.
Yeah, and then the button that said follows you will be gone after that.
Right. Yeah, you don't want that.
Well, anyway, thank you for your time, Eric. I really appreciate it.
Donovan, I appreciate this.
Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. This is the only one part I hate because it's